Hello everybody, Jediwarlock here and welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today we are going on another adventure in the World of Warcraft, and I'm going to be swimming around the Azuremyst Isles as well as the World Tree Teldrassil off the coast of northern Kalimdor. I'm using my Night Elf Druid again for this adventure, and while this was a bit shorter of an overall journey, I ended up finding quite a few secrets hidden underwater. I also want to give everybody a big thank you. We recently passed 10,000 subscribers, which is an awesome milestone on my YouTube journey. I'm looking forward to sharing more of my projects with you all in the new year. So, with all that being said, let's get right into it and explore the oceans of Azeroth. Starting off from the western dock of Azuremyst Isle, the first thing I noticed was how clear the water is here. The view distance underwater is farther than I've ever seen in-game, and swimming through the environment here was quite a surreal experience. The skeleton of a massive sea snake can be found here, as can an empty turtle shell and the ribs of another unknown creature. The entire bay is really well decorated with kelp and seafloor textures, and it really helps contribute to this overall theme of Azuremyst being a place of pristine beauty on the edge of the Veiled Sea. Approaching the smaller Silvermist Isle from the north, I ran into Magwyn, one of the few night elves to live on these remote islands. Murlocs swarmed around a massive thresher carcass further west, reminiscent of the smaller ones found off the coast of Darkshore. I found this single rowboat beached on the western shore, but the real prize here came into view as I rounded the southern corner. A sunken ship, impaled by one of the fallen Exodar's crystals, lies here just beyond the lonely dock. Seems like the remaining elves might be stranded here for the time being without a way to return to the mainland. On the east side of the isle, you can even find the hidden meeting spot between the goblin Giesel and the local Naga. Across the small strait, Wrathscale Point is the largest Naga encampment in the zone, and features many of the ancient Night Elf structures we have seen in other places around Kalimdor. Nearby on the southern shore is Odysseus's Landing, where the Alliance Navy expedition has set up camp. This is one of the major plot points that leads to the Draenei joining the Alliance, so this is kind of an important location. Near the Amun Ford, just past Giesel's camp, the Totem of Yore sits at the bottom of the bank, and is one part of the Still Pine language quest available at Azure Watch. The swim around the landlocked Amun Vale was much more pleasant than I envisioned, and the underwater fields of kelp and seagrass, combined with the beautiful music, made me reluctant to ever leave this zone. On the northern side of Amun Vale, I encountered this tiny campsite that I don't think has anything to do with a quest. Maybe the Draenei version of Newman's Landing? The Emberglade passed by quickly, and after avoiding the feral ravagers at the menagerie wreckage, I found another small rowboat from a sailor long since departed. The Fairbridge Strand, surprisingly intact from the days of the Sundering, connects Azuremyst Isle to Bloodmist Isle, and I knew there would be more hostile waters to deal with in this corrupted zone. Swimming eastward after reaching the isle, I found a broken piece of the Exodar washed up on the shore. The Crimson Reach didn't have much to show by itself, but the two islands off the coast did have their moments. Blood Curse Isle, home to a nasty group of Naga, shares the same model as Purgation Isle from the Hillsbrad foothills, which is rather interesting, but has a more appropriate theme compared to the former's human-style buildings. Wormscar Island, which features little more than a small mountain, burned trees, and a few elven ruins, is strikingly relevant to WoW today. The ancient story of the Dragon Riders of Loretheron seems rather similar to what can be seen in the recent Dragonflight expansion. Off the eastern coast, a lost fleet of ships can be seen atop the blood-cursed reef, likely victims of the vicious Naga. Back on the Bloodmist shore, the warp piston can be found, a massive piece of the Exodar's engine that now hangs precariously near the sea. The Bloodwash, a Murloc-infested fragment of coastline, is home to this unexpected gnome who lives inside yet another beached turtle shell. Perhaps the most frustrating locations to find for players not used to swimming around entire continents is the Hidden Reef. Apart from having a very fitting name, this area is fascinating for multiple reasons, including the sunken Night Elf architecture, the group of friendly water elementals who dwell here, and the sunken ships that dot the reef. There's even a cool, or perhaps unnerving, set of arches that lead to nowhere. Swimming around the western edge of Bloodmist did not reveal much at first, but I was able to see the menacing Vector Coil from the back side of the island, which was a neat view. The mountains soon passed by, then the satyr camp of Nazivian. The Black Silt Shore, once again a home for Murlocs, was my final landmark in this corrupted zone before I swam back across the strait to Azuremyst Isle. The Silting Shore, an untainted mirror of Black Silt Shore, was the last true aquatic landmark on this journey, but something else revealed itself that I just couldn't resist checking out. On the northern edge of the Exodar's crash site, a barely noticeable path snakes upward into the mountains. Climbing all the way to the top of the Wild Wind Peak reveals a hidden cave containing who I presume to be a shaman trainer, and right near the precipice of the mountain, everybody's favorite air elemental, Susurrus. Returning to the water, I soon found myself back at Valar's Bay, and clocked in at about 70 minutes of swimming, a rather manageable time frame for what is, in my opinion, one of the most enjoyable swims yet. You may be asking yourself, what about Teldrassil? I did swim around it too, but 1, I forgot to set my timer until much too late, and 2, I didn't find much of interest besides tree roots. So many tree roots. The one place I did find that redeemed this swim in my eyes is this abandoned Furbolg village on the eastern coast of the tree. But there really isn't much besides that. And for those of you who are curious, no, you cannot reach GM Island by swimming out beyond Teldrassil without using some advanced glitches. All in all, I'm guessing it took me about 45 minutes to travel around the entire tree, making my total time for the 3 islands about 2 hours. As of now, Azuremyst Isle is definitely my new favorite zone in terms of the swimming experience, and I'd highly encourage you to check it out sometime, along with the other interesting spots I mentioned. I'm looking forward to next exploring the zones of the real Quel'Thalas and more in the new year. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like, comment down below with your thoughts, subscribe if you're new to join the Jedi Order, and until next time, may the Force be with you.